3, 2, 1.
Please stand by for further details. We return you now to your regularly scheduled program.
Hello to those of you who are feeling called to this reading in particular, mystery reading number 1029. My name is Elizabeth, and before getting into this reading, if you are a reoccurring viewer, you enjoy my work, and you would like to help support it, feel free to do so by sticking around and hitting the subscribe button down below and ringing the notification bell next to it if you feel called to. And if you do feel called to subscribe and stick around, welcome and thank you very much for your support, as well as your presence during this reading. So, starting with interpreting the number 1029, the number 1 is about trusting yourself. Where do you feel intuitively guided? What words do you feel called to use, or choices do you feel called to make? How do you feel called intuitively to show up in the world, or a specific relationship, or a certain situation? No matter what it is going on in your life, this number 1 is here to encourage you to trust yourself and your ability to make your own decisions and create your own reality. Remember that you are in control. And you lose control whenever you don't take ownership of your own mind, thoughts, perspectives, mindset. It's very, very important to have the right mindset to get the right outcomes. Is there a relationship or a situation that you are feeling called to approach with a specific mindset, or do you feel called to change the way that you're looking at things or thinking to get better results? No matter what, trust yourself. The number 0 is about cycles. Maybe there are some patterns within yourself, certain ways that you think or feel or believe that you are recognizing, or that you are being called to recognize. Or there could be patterns in your reality, your relationships, certain situations that are worth acknowledging and paying attention to. This number can also be a reminder that alongside every other journey in your life outside of yourself, there is always a journey with yourself that runs parallel to these journeys. And it's very important to know when to put the journey with yourself before anything else. It's important to know when to have self-respect, when to respect your own thoughts, your own beliefs, and your own feelings. There's really something here about respecting and embracing who you truly are, and leading with self-love rather than self-hate and self-destruction. And it's interesting I use the word leading specifically. I mean, I say it a lot that we always have an impact on each other, for better or for worse. And it feels like you are being called to have an impact, or at least encouraged, for the better. And the best way to do that is to have a positive impact on yourself first. It's going to be hard to know how to wield your own power in certain situations or relationships. if you don't know how to use it for yourself first, in terms of taking care of yourself and knowing when to choose yourself. I did see the number 444 on the timer. When I just now looked down at it again, I saw the number 456. The number 456 is a sign to trust everything happens for a reason. And the number 444 is very connected to ancestors and stability, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, and physically. So, for a reason, your ancestors are coming through to encourage you to focus on and prioritize stability, especially internally. Taking ownership and gaining more control over your mindset, the way that you look at yourself, other people, and just situations in your life. It does feel like your ancestors are encouraging you to handle things differently. Or to trust in the efforts that you are already making to create more stability in your life and within yourself. First and foremost within yourself, I'll say, because you are a source of energy and you are a force in this world. And I believe that to manifest or create a stable reality, you're going to have to learn how to be stable from within. Have self-control from within. I believe that self-control leads to control of your reality. Number 2 can be confirmation of a significant situation or a person on your mind that has come up in this reading so far. It can also be, it's definitely a confirmation actually of creating balance within yourself, inner peace, finding peace. I really think that that's the answer to creating stability within yourself, to create more stability in your life and in your relationships. What is on your mind, weighing on your heart, and dragging your soul that needs to be released, transmuted, or something like that? Where do you need to find closure? I feel is a good question to ask. This number 2 can also be about your choices and prioritizing what means the most to you. And it feels like what should mean the most to you and what you should be choosing right now is yourself, but more specifically to address the internal instability, the imbalance within yourself. Your ancestors really do want you to have more control over your reality. They don't want you to be living in perpetual disappointment and frustration. And I'm not saying that, you are where you are entirely because of your own doing. I just feel like there's a need here to recognize that you have more power than you might think. You're able to do more, control more than you might think or realize. And the last number, the number 9, is about purpose and helping the world release what no longer works. This number is a reminder that whatever you let go, again, I'm feeling this leadership energy, whatever you let go, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually, that does not serve your highest good and your highest well-being, you will have a positive impact on those around you. Even if some people might not see it as positive or it might result in loss, it's positive because you are a source of energy forcing change into this world. Positive change. If you do lose people or things because you're trying to be a better version of yourself, they were only holding you back and reinforcing the lack of respect that you had for yourself, the lack of care. And it's not a reflection of your worth and what you deserve. And I feel like at this point you probably already know, hopefully, that you define those things, what you are worth, your own potential, and what you deserve at a basic level. Just because you're human, you know? The number 9 is here to call for you to really trust in a sense of purpose that you may already be feeling and, being led by right now, or to not give up on finding why you went through what you did, why you are where you are, what it all means for you right now and in the future. I am a very, very, very strong believer that everything does happen for a reason. Sometimes we know what those reasons are, sometimes we don't. What is hope, or what is faith without belief, Sometimes having faith is just about trust, but some reasons you get to find out. Some reasons you get to decide for yourself. And I encourage you to keep seeking out those reasons, those answers that you need. Especially if they are spiritual, really wanting to understand the way the universe works, what higher powers are out there, Adding up these numbers, 1 plus 0 is 1, plus 2 is 3, plus 9 is 12, 1 plus 2 is 3. So 9 plus 3 is 12. Yeah, 1 plus 2 is 3. So the number 3 is about self-expression and communication. This is about being honest about who you are, what you think, feel, and believe, and showing up in the world authentically. It can also be about finding ways to express yourself in a way that aligns with you, whether it's through art, connecting with other people, making something with your hands, arts, crafts, pottery. You deserve space in this world to express yourself, whether it's emotionally or creatively. And there are ways that do work for you and align for you. And just like seeking out a sense of purpose, if you haven't found it yet, I encourage you to keep searching what your creative expression is, or how you best express yourself emotionally. Especially if you're really trying to heal and search for answers. You need a way to investigate, I personally like journaling. It's really nice to put all of my thoughts and feelings on paper. They're easier to analyze that way. But like I said, find what works for you. This number can also be about healing and growing, which I feel is confirmation of something that you're already focused on, so just keep on going with that. And the last way that I interpret the number 3 is commitment. It's most definitely encouraging you to commit to self-love. Let go and walk away from the hatred towards yourself or the self-destruction, and commit to loving yourself in the way that you deserve. Commit to treating yourself and seeing yourself in the way that you deserve to see yourself, which is with clarity, not fear and darkness and projection. You deserve to see yourself clearly for who you are and what you're truly capable of and what is possible for you. And this can, of course, be about any other commitments outside of yourself. Maybe it's a significant relationship or a significant project. In some way. At least one way, but maybe another. Alright, so I am going to move into the cards now. Starting with the Magical Dogs Tarot, I'm only going to pull a couple of cards from this deck. I actually feel called to shuffle these before I pull out any cards. Someone here might like playing cards. I personally love poker. I've been thinking about learning how to play chess too. What I've learned about myself is I tend to think very strategically. I don't know why. I would like to better understand myself that way, but you could relate. Maybe you're interested in poker or chess or something that allows you to strategize and witness your intelligence for what it is. The first card that I have is the Eight of Swords. This card is about somebody who is feeling fearful. You may be feeling trapped or overwhelmed with hopelessness or just some really negative, heavy feelings. There's definitely fear here in this energy. But, well, I do want you to know that there is a way out of this fear of a certain situation. Whatever is making you feel trapped and anxious, there is a way out. And in this deck specifically, the imagery here, there's a dog trying to get away from these crows, and there's a more obvious solution, easier solution right here. So maybe in your situation, the solution, the way out, might be more obvious and simple than you might be afraid of. There could be a encouragement here for you to not make things harder for yourself than they need to be by beating yourself up with negative self-talk or negative thinking. Let yourself think towards freedom. It's okay to not be happy where you are, to be really upset about not where you are, about where you are. My bad. But what's not okay, in my opinion, is focusing on the upset, because I feel like it can be a huge distraction from, as this card seems to show, finding a way out. This could be encouragement for you to stay focused on seeking out the answers, the exit that you need, because it's there. It is there somewhere. And if you do see like maybe this is an option, but you're afraid to take this option, don't let fear stand in your way. Let yourself either believe in good outcomes or believe in yourself and have courage. Let yourself express courage if that's what you feel called to do. For some people, like I said, sometimes it's just believing in good outcomes, focusing on the good possibilities. That helps them, feel good or better about facing their fears. And for other people, I think for me personally, it's facing the unknown despite the fear. I say it a lot. What is courage without fear? I think it takes courage either way, to believe in the good, to focus on the good possibilities, and to believe in your strength to face the not so favorable possibilities. Maybe you could do a mix of both, but I do want you to know there is a way out here. I think in the original tarot, it's a person with a blindfold on. Don't blind yourself. Fully ignorant. And that's most definitely not personal. We all can do it when we just feel so overwhelmed with our own feelings, our own thoughts, our own situation and challenges. You're not alone. I want you to know that. It's very hard to have courage or to believe in good outcomes or to just trust that there will be a light at the end of the tunnel. But for your own well-being, I encourage you to focus on these things. And at the same time, though, if you need to really just be a mess of emotions and to break down for a minute, you can do that. That's okay. And you don't need my permission to do it. As I said in a reading recently, all that matters is that you come back to yourself and you don't give up. Let's go ahead and draw out this next card. Well, actually, I did forget to talk about the number 8, which is about loss and trusting that whatever is lost will be replaced. If you're dealing with some sort of grief, or if there's any grief in the future, or some uncomfortable changes that you're going through or will be going through, trust that it'll be worth it. It will be worth it. Wow, okay. Someone here is feeling really defeated. We have the Nine of Wands in reverse. As we said before, the number 9 is about purpose and helping the world release what no longer works. I find that very interesting. We have loss with helping the world release what no longer works. And I feel like that's a very strong confirmation, in my opinion, that moving forward, whatever uncomfortable but positive changes you go through, they will be worth it. You could be afraid of these changes, but I don't think, at the very least, you don't need to have as much fear as you're experiencing. You know what I mean? And it's okay if it's realistically that scary for you. But at the same time, something that I learned with my own journey of trying to overcome anxiety was that every time I exposed myself to my fear, it was never as bad as I was afraid. Ever. Never ever was it ever as bad. So, it's okay to have a little anxiety, but if it's very overwhelming, it might be helpful to try to understand, is my fear really trying to protect me? Or is it just trying to limit me? You could definitely be experiencing some triggers that are exacerbating the fear, and that might be really helpful to acknowledge, to understand that, okay, this is just something from my past that's coming up that's making things scarier than they need to be. And that can maybe even help you see more that it may not be as scary as you think. The Nine of Wands upright is about resilience and endurance. And when it's in reverse, I feel like it's someone who's just, the burden is getting too heavy. And I think whenever you feel this way, if you can't change your circumstances or a situation, the best thing you can do is just let yourself be a mess. Seriously. And then whenever you have gotten all of it out, and as we all need to come to at some point, whenever you're ready to not be stubborn, then, try to change your perspective or do whatever you need to do to help yourself become stronger. It does feel like it has something to do with healing. Let's go ahead and draw one last card. I'm going to draw out a deck of cards from this box of cards here to draw out the last card for you. I really, really encourage you to be very patient with yourself. And if you feel called to, maybe watch the previous reading as well, because there was a lot about patience and feeling frustrated with having to wait for big positive changes. Right there. Which one am I going to take? I want to take this one, actually. We have throat chakra with the number 3. I speak with the color blue. It's very, very interesting. The previous reading did talk about needing to express yourself, your passion, the anxiety, the anger, in a healthy, constructive, insightful way. I am noticing as well that, of course, this has the number 3 on it, and when we added up the numbers from 1029 did come down to the number 3. So I want to say, if you see the number 333, or that just number feels like you're noticing patterns, that number is recurring in your life, of course, interpret it in what already feels right for you. But I feel like it's also a sign to express yourself, to communicate, to speak. I just now saw 33 on the timer, because I'm recording the last segment of this, and I just started recording it. I think this card is just confirming really what I was talking about in the previous reading, so that's very interesting. But I think it's really, really important. It's going to be very, very helpful for you to find a way to express yourself whenever the burden is getting really heavy and the fear is getting overwhelming. I really, really recommend journaling. But as I've been saying, you find what works for you that helps you reflect on your mind, your mindset, what thoughts are coming up, what feelings they're creating, what beliefs they might be creating as well. Because once you understand the problem, once you understand where the source of the pain is, you can fix it, you can heal it. And I just think that even meditation could be a good one too. I just think that you need a way to put intentional focus on what you're thinking about, what you're feeling, and how it's working against you, so that way you can figure out how to make it work for you. And a really good method, I guess you can call it, that I did that worked for me is, if the thoughts are like the heavier negative thoughts, usually the answer is to tell myself the opposite. So if I tell myself I hate myself, well, then I tell myself I love myself. Or if I tell myself that I hate this situation, maybe not tell myself the opposite, but tell myself something that isn't about hate. I am really frustrated with this situation, but I can see the good out of this. I can see what this has to offer me. I'm getting a real like yin and yang type of feeling, and more specifically the part of it that's mostly black with the little white dot, which for me is like there's always light in the dark, even if it's not that much light. When you focus on I say a lot in my readings, whatever you focus on will grow. So if it's a little bit of light and you focus on that light will grow. I really do believe that. Or if it's even darkness, if you focus on the darkness, it's going to grow. So be careful of your mindset and what you choose to focus on, because whatever you focus on will grow, and I think what you really need right now is more light. So I encourage you to focus on the light.